I can't stand Joe Dini. I have, over the last couple of weeks, been trying to make a video about why I can't stand Joe, but I can't compose myself well enough to make it because I can't listen to any of his shitty content for more than a few minutes without wanting to kill myself. For those of you who don't know, Joe Dini used to be a fan of my old podcast, and then he made the exact same podcast with worse research and worse guests, and was a worst host, and then he just sort of kept doing it. And he found the very loosest definition of success because he has something like 3,000 subscribers. Nothing to brag about. So earlier this year, he did the smart thing and he quit the job he had in broadcasting that he'd been in for 5 years and had a career track on. So he could do this full time. And then he found out he wasn't making any money, so he had to become a delivery driver in order to fucking make up ends meet. And he keeps pumping out this content presumably thinking it will lead to success, and it won't because it's garbage and no one watches it because now there are bigger, better personalities handling these subjects than he can possibly compete with. How is Joe going to compete with Mr. Medicare? How is Joe going to compete with fucking, I don't know, Noel from Kiwi Farms even? These are people that had an existing user base who are interested in that content already, and they have an in. They have access to unique information that we don't have. I wanted to do an episode on Game Dude at some point, but then Medicare did a video on him, and he had the court documents that someone gave him. I can't get a hold of that shit. I can't compete with that. And I've made peace with that. But Joe hasn't, and he continues to pump out garbage after garbage. And I keep wanting to make a video about it, but I can't, because I can't listen to Joe for more than 3 or 4 minutes without wanting to kill myself. And I want to prove that. So this is a clip of his hashtag Dini Truths side series, which he uploads a video of every fucking day almost, that he put to his Twitter. This is what he wanted to show people to entice them to come see it. And let me play this for you.
Now I don't even want to think about pizza. I don't want to look at pizza. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to touch it. I just don't want to picture or imagine it whatsoever. I don't want to do the same thing with pasta. And I know for some people that's very blasphemous and they wouldn't believe me, but I just don't want to think about them. I just don't not want to go through this. It's not a pain. It's just like a very uncomfortable feeling right now. I just don't want to go through that. If I could just keep this up throughout the course of it, I'll feel great. It's the endorphin junkie, as they would say, for people that actually go walking. And they actually like doing the long runs. You get the endorphins from your brain. It's not that like they're taking like some type of drug. It's just that the brain is just sending you endorphins when you do it, and you feel good about it. I was not getting that today. I thought, well, maybe I could just burn it all off and then move on, and it just wasn't coming.
What the fuck was that? That's supposed to be the clip to entice you, and it's him rambling about food and endorphins for 45 seconds. What the fuck? Joe is an idiot. He's insufferable. He's completely disingenuous. He gives you a bunch of false platitudes about garbage. He sounds like a dude who works at a PR firm. He sounds like a dude who works in fucking PR for like a Walmart. Not Walmart the brand, a Walmart. Because he doesn't actually say anything of substance or produce anything anyone wants, but he kind of sounds like he does, so they hired him on. Joe talks about walking 5-6 miles a day as if it's a massive accomplishment. Most people who work in retail basically do the same thing over the course of their shift. If you're working at a big box retailer, you're moving all the time, and you're probably walking the equivalent of 6 or 7 miles on top of doing menial labor or whatnot. That's not impressive. If you're running 6 or 7 miles every day, that's pretty impressive because that means you have a shit ton of stamina. But walking, not that impressive. I can walk 6 or 7 miles over the course of a day, no problem. I probably do it all the time by accident. You probably do it all the time by accident. Joe is the type of person who doesn't have an identity. He doesn't have like any interests or any skills, so he's based his entire identity around being Italian. One of the shittiest things to base your identity around, because Italians have not been oppressed or like hurt or ostracized like some other races have. So like African Americans have a unique culture because they had to, because they were sort of kept on their own. The Irish have a unique heritage because they have their own unique fucking whatever shit. You know what I'm talking about. Italians don't have any of that shit. So all Joe talks about is eating pizza and pasta and meatballs. And in this clip, he talks about how he doesn't want to do that. And it's a fucking world-ending crisis for him that he doesn't want to eat these foods. That's insane. Imagine if this is where you draw the line of like, I don't want to eat pizza or pasta. I don't know what the fuck I am anymore. It's mind-boggling. I was talking to my friend Jamie, who used to be an associate of Joe Dini. He used to do podcasts with him, and then he cut and ran because he basically saw the writing on the wall that Joe wasn't going anywhere and that he was kind of crazy. And he sent me this clip, and he was like, this is nonsense. He's just rambling for a minute straight about garbage. And it defines Joe Dini perfectly. He never says anything interesting. He never says anything meaningful. But he rambles on forever and forever. So consider this my Joe Dini episode of It Came From the Internet, because I'm not going to sit through his garbage for any amount of time in order to piece together any more of this bullshit. Now the Raptors are coming.